Welcome to the Bird Bum. It's mid-June and there's no bird season on the near horizon, so I'm taking Hank truck camping in the Daniel Boone National Forest to try out some new changes I've made to the truck camping setup. We'll actually be staying in the Cave Run Lake area in northeastern Kentucky, not too far from where I live. Cave Run is a mountain lake, which means it's a deep lake. At its deepest, it's about 130 feet. This lake is perhaps best known for its muskie fishing, considered the muskie capital of the South, and anglers come from all over the country to fish for muskie here. But for this trip, we're not doing anything as ambitious as muskie fishing. We're just looking for a good spot to do some dispersed truck camping. So I think we're in. This is a beautiful area. I'll show you here. It's got quite a bit of trash, so I'm going to take a few minutes to clean some of that up. I just threw everything in the back of the truck. Didn't really pack this time since it's a short trip. But you can see we're right on the water. Small inlet of Cave Run Lake. And little fire pit full of trash. So I'm going to take a few minutes, clean up and set up, and we'll be back. Boy, it really is peaceful here. I wish I'd brought a fishing rod. There's been fish out breaking water. I'm not sure what kind of fish they are, but still, just to have a bobber out there would be fun. Anyway, I think I've gotten camp cleaned up some, and I'm starting to get set up myself. But I wanted to take just a minute to show you guys what I've done to the truck since the last time I made a video, which was the basic setup video. And one of the goals, two goals I had. One was refrigerator, freezer unit if I could in the back, and then the other goal was to make it easier in some ways to cook breakfast in the back so they didn't have to get out in the mornings for that. So I think I've done both of those things. We'll see. Anyway, when I was considering refrigerator units, I was originally looking at kind of larger dual zone single units, and there's some really nice ones out there, but it didn't take long to figure out that they really were, all of them were too big to fit in the back of the truck. And so what I decided to do instead was to buy two smaller units and make one a refrigerator and one a freezer. And somebody, I think his YouTube name is the Upland Drifter, had put a comment on my video about this brand specifically, the Alpicool, I'm not sure how to pronounce that. So I looked at those and liked them and ended up buying a couple of those. And so this is the refrigerator unit here, and I wanted it closest to the tailgate if I could, and I got it plugged into the Jackery and running off of that. And you can see that I've got it full of things that I'm going to be eating this weekend, and it's been doing well so far. The one thing that was, I wanted this larger size back here, and one thing that was a problem initially was that it was too long for the space between the wheel well and the tailgate. but because of the slope of the wheel well, if I elevated it some, then it would fit in there. So because of that, I built this little platform actually out of a piece of wood that I found in the barn and velcroed it to the bottom of the refrigerator. And so far, you know, and I haven't really driven it that much, but I have around town some, and then get into here, it's holding into place pretty well. And I've got one little piece of Velcro back here so that it's stuck to the side of the truck. Now this platform, I originally was going to close it off here, but then realized that it kind of created an interesting space to leave that open. And so I didn't put a board across here, and instead kind of put a box under there. And I've got, let's see if I can move this back a little more. We've got all kinds of stuff in here. This is maybe kind of like a kitchen junk drawer, but stuff that I'd be using and pretty regularly and would want back here. So for example, here's the power cord to connect the Jackery to the 12-volt outlet here, to charge it up, maybe if I'm going down the road. So for now, I don't know how long that cardboard box will last, but for now, I'm going to leave it like that. So that's the refrigerator. Now let me get up in here, knock my shoes off. It's sandy here. The next thing I did, and the next two parts of it really go to being able to cook in here more easily. And the first thing was to put a trash can in here, and this is actually hung from the side of the truck, and it's pretty stable. And then the other thing, and I don't know if you can see this or not with the lighting, but this is a little shelf that's under the original shelf, and it's got a lip on it, so that so far everything has stayed in there without having to put a bungee or anything like that on it to keep it in place. But this should be everything I need to make breakfast in the back of the truck without getting out of the back of the truck. So in the refrigerator, I would have eggs and bacon and cheese or whatever else, yogurt, that I want for breakfast. Here I've got a plate, a coffee maker, coffee mug, coffee, and coffee filters. And in here I've got utensils. I can put these up here. Utensils, a bowl, bacon press, salt and pepper, those sorts of things. And then here I've got a single burner, kind of like electric stove, and then there's even a little small frying pan back there. So we'll see how this goes. I'm going to try it for the first time back here tomorrow morning, and we'll see if this will work for breakfast. And then finally back here I have a freezer, and it's a smaller unit than the one in the front, and I didn't think I needed as much freezer space. And so let's see, I did put an ice cream in here to see how that would work, and it's been in there all day, and it's very solid still, so that seems to be working well. All right, so those are the changes basically that I made. The one last thing I did is I added a roll of paper towels back here. Couldn't figure out where else to put them just yet, so I hung them back here, and I'll need that too for working in here in the morning. All right, we'll see how it goes. Well, that is way too many potatoes. But all right, this is venison tenderloins from a deer I harvested this past November. Usually a little messy when you first open it up. I think that's all I'm gonna. Right. I realized just as I was getting this out that I forgot my steak sauce, which is disappointing, but this has actually been really good. So I think I'll be all right without it. All right. That looks good. Once we moved in for the night, I tried out a new DVD projector my wife recently won in a sweepstakes and used a towel as a makeshift screen until I can do something better.
Prepare to go live to Los Angeles. Mixed reports have just come out of some extreme weather occurring in the area. Okay, we're now going live to our Fox affiliate in Los Angeles.
was going to make an omelet, but I think I'm going to have to make scrambled eggs. So I just finished eating breakfast, and I think this all worked really well. The refrigerator and the freezer worked, and weren't too loud during the night. They were running pretty much all night. The ice cream's still frozen in the freezer. One problem I did have, usually I run everything off of a generator at night, and I have the generator set up out there. But once I got it set up, I realized I'd forgotten the extension cord that I needed to run around and power everything here from the generator. So I couldn't use the generator, and had to use the Jackery for everything. So, and it's held up. It's down to 11% power left, but it has run everything all night, and it ran this. I could use the stove and the coffee maker and everything off of it. But I will be able to start the truck up and plug it in and start recharging it as well. So the only other thing that was a bit of an issue was it's nice to be next to the water, but the drawback to that is that once things calm down in the evening, the mosquitoes come out, and so we had to jump in here to get away from them, and a few have gotten in this morning. So it was a little bit warm at the beginning of the night, and I do have an air conditioner that I could have brought, but I didn't think it was going to be that that warm. So anyway, I think it all went well, and thanks for joining us, and until the next video, thanks.